Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to all the viewers, listeners, children, parents, adults on behalf of Madrasah Kashiful Uloom Al-huda Preston and also Madrasah Ihyaaus Sunnah Bolton. Yesterday's lesson we did an exercise of pronunciation. Generally, when a child enrolls into madrasa, they spend a considerable amount of time on the actual pronunciation of letters. Even though we are going to be uploading the next lesson, moving on to the next stage, which is recognition of the letters, it's very important that before you make attempt of the recognition, you are extremely confident and competent in pronunciation. Pronunciation is key, thereafter recognition is also very important. For the benefit of the brothers and brothers and sisters and the listeners who can surely confidently pronounce letters, this is just a quick exercise of recognition for them. But for our children, Insha'Allah Aziz, we will go through it as though we are the audience or the young children, and we will prompt and ask questions accordingly. So in the last lesson we covered pronunciation, and pronunciation is something we must practice daily, regardless of which para you may be on. Reading the Quran, you may have covered first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Even for someone who has already mastered the art of tajweed and mastered the art of qira'ah, it's important to continue doing mashq. Just like a person who may be a personal trainer, doesn't mean that the personal trainer who can train others doesn't stop training him or herself. They continue training themselves to make sure they remain fit. Similarly, a Qari and a Mujawwid and a teacher, they do the same. They continue exercising and practicing as well. So for those who are learning and they are beginners, then it is extremely important that they practice the sounds and the pronunciation of letters every single day. So moving on to today's lesson, inshallah, I will move my cursor letter to letter. I will give the children the opportunity and yourselves as whoever is taking benefit from this video to recognize the letter. But along with recognition, let's try and pronounce the letter as correct as possible. So Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. My cursor is on the first letter. What letter is this? How do we pronounce this letter? It is the letter Ha. Letter Ha, from the middle of the throat. 6 letters are known as the throat letters: Hamza Ha, Ain Ha, and Ain Ha. Hamza Ha, Ain Ha, and Ain Ha. Ha and Ain, they come from the middle part of the throat. Inshallah, as I'm going along, I will give brief description of the makhraj so that it becomes easier for us to pronounce and understanding how the letter should be actually pronounced. So when you have letter Ha coming from the middle of the throat, we must distinguish this from the small Ha that we have already been introduced to. And if it's not the first time that you are being introduced to this letter, so the correct pronunciation is Ha, from the middle of the throat. And you will feel a tingle near the Adam's apple. Ha. Okay? What letter is this, children? And anybody else who is listening to us? Meme, from the dry part of the lips. When the lips meet together, it's from the dry part of the lips. So the meeting of the lips, but from the dry part. Meme. And then this letter, Tha, tip of the tongue touching the upper central incisors, which is basically the front two teeth, but the teeth on top, not underneath. So the tip of your tongue will go underneath it, inshallah. And as discussed with Maulana Sajid today, inshallah Aziz, weekly we will go through tajweed rules as well. So there will be a video being uploaded on a weekly basis going through tajweed rules. So we will begin with the makharij, and you will be quite intrigued and interested in what it all entails, and the whole understanding of tajweed will be, inshallah, it will be sort of enhanced. Tha. What letter is this, children? Tha. So ha, mim, tha. It's the TH sound. Okay? And then this letter, lam. So you may notice, why is it randomly starting from ha and then mim and then tha? This is the whole point of the exercise, that do children recognize the letter when they are placed in front of them in a random order? Because usually when we go from alif, ba, ta, tha, the child will start from alif all the way till the end of ya, and without being surprised, you may notice that the child is actually just saying the sounds off by heart. So the child has memorized the sounds. So, which is also good. If a child has memorized the sounds and is able to pronounce the sounds from alif to ya correctly, then we know one thing, that the child has gained the correct pronunciation. Now, the second most important part is that, okay, you must be able to put a picture to the sound you're making. So if we pointed out, for example, over here where the cursor is, which letter is this? The child can say the sound lam, but the child should be able to recognize that this is letter lam. Similarly, this last letter here is jim. What letter is it? Jim. Moving on to this sound here, you may have gained the knowledge of saying the sound correctly, but now recognize this sound. To. If you notice, I am saying it with a full mouth. And for your information, just like there are 6 throat letters, the throat is divided into 3 parts: bottom, middle, and top. From the complete bottom part of the throat, the part near to the chest, which is called aqsa al-halq, is where hamza ha is pronounced from. And from the middle of the throat, wast halaq, is ayn ha, and then adna halaq, from adna al-halq, from the top of the throat, is ghayn ha. And there we have letter ta, full mouth, ta. So the tip of the tongue will go behind the front 2 teeth near the cavity area. But we try to keep it more onto the teeth because we don't want to make it sound, especially for those listeners who are from the Gujarati background. It's quite known that there is one is the Arabic ta, ta and dal, and then we've got the Gujarati way of saying ta, ta and dal. So we've got to make sure that the tip of the tongue goes to the correct area in and around the mouth. And usually it's the nit'un, which is the cavity area. And this is basically where the teeth finish, the top 2 teeth. So behind the front 2 teeth, the upper central incisors, is where your gum and your teeth meet. That is what we call the cavity area. So we've got to say, and we try not to keep the tip of the tongue too much onto the actual gum area, otherwise it will sound like the Gujarati ta, ta and dal. So ta, full mouth, and then what letter is this? Recognize it. The sound is dhal, dhal, and then this one za. Well done. And then this one sin. Brilliant. And then this one sad. Sad. Now this is sin, empty mouth, and this is sad, full mouth. And also very important, when pronouncing letter sad, we must not circle our lips. A lot of pupils, we hear them say swad, and what they're doing is swad. They are including and involving the lips when pronouncing this letter. When we go through the tajweed rules, and especially the makharij, the definition of the makharij, when we read them through, you will realize that the lips are not included and involved when making a sound and pronouncing a letter. Sad. For this, our teachers would make us purchase a palm-sized mirror and say, right, look into the mirror, and you will notice and realize that if your lips are being included and involved in making a sound when they are not supposed to be, that sound will not be correct. Sad. What letter is this? Qaf, from the extreme back part of the tongue, touching the uvula. Qaf. And then this Bod. So when the side of the tongue touches the gums of the molars and the premolars. Don't worry if you don't understand what I'm saying, but just for the benefit of the elders and those who understand. Bod. And then this letter, ho. Even in this, children must not circle their lips. I know said duad. It's not duad, it's bod. Okay? Ho, top of the throat. And then dha. So tha, dhal and dha, they come from exactly the same place. But this letter, tha, dhal, it's got and then this one is dha. Okay, full mouth. And then this, ayn. Sorry about the picture. Ayn, ayn, and then ayn. So we've got ha and ayn coming from the top of the throat. And there we have ta, empty mouth. So ta, ta, and then this letter here, dal, they come from the same makhraj, same place. Ta, and this letter, noon, noon, and this letter, wow, and then this one, fa, equivalent to the letter F, fa, and then ya, and this one, hamza, kaf, small kaf. So we must distinguish between big kaf and small kaf. So this is complete back of the tongue, and this is a little more towards, at least away from the tongue. And it's basically, imagine you have your tongue, and then you split the tongue into half. Now this is a bird's eye view of your tongue, looking at it from the top. So you split the tongue into half, and then you've got the back part, which is the first half, and the more towards the mouth, you call it the second half. So imagine your first half, you then split the first half again into two parts. So where you will draw your line, it is more towards away, it's away from the uvula. And if a child is struggling to say the sound, you use equivalent sounds in the language they speak. So usually we would say to a child, say the word kit kat. So that's the ka you need to make, the kicking ka. So then that will then allow them to understand, okay, right, this is qaf, full mouth, and this is kaf. A lot of children, they tend to say both sounds in a similar way from the extreme back part of the tongue, or other way around. This letter is dal. Okay, dal, ta, and ta. They all come from the same place, from the cavity, tip of the tongue when it touches the cavity area from behind the upper central incisors. Alif, right? Alif. Now, alif, we say the letter is called alif, but the sound of alif is from the empty part of the mouth. So the a, ba, ta. So that sound at the end, apart from the ba and the ta, the other sound, the a sound, that comes from the empty part of the mouth. So if you open your mouth up and you insert your finger into the mouth, the sphere and the empty part in which the finger is entering into, that is what you call jawful fum. The basically empty part of the mouth. Jawf means the actual stomach, the middle part of the thing. This one is ra, letter ra. In ra, we've got to make sure that you hear the trembling sound, the r sound. Ra. Now inshallah we will go through the ra makhraj. We will also explain the setup of the teeth. You've got your incisors, then your bilaterals, and then you've got your central incisors, etc., molars, premolars. There's a whole explanation. So we'll go through the whole thing inshallah very soon. So ra, and this letter is sheen. Sheen, the sh sound, sheen, and dha, full mouth, ayn, and this letter ba, and then this letter ha, small ha. So as you can see, it's mixed alphabet, and the whole purpose is that the child or the person trying to learn should be able to recognize the letter. Once you have gained competency and you have gained confidence in pronouncing the letter, full mouth, empty mouth, throw letters, etc., etc., then it's important that you can recognize the letters immediately without having to think. And then these are the exercises you find, and then you go through. So then children are then given sabak. So right, go through this. Sort of, they might be given 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines. So it's important that you also go through. So inshallah, we will practice this tomorrow. We'll go through the exercise and the mixed letters, assorted letters. But most importantly, you need to practice using lesson 1. But inshallah, I will finish off by practicing the sounds with you from alif to ya, and then we will inshallah continue tomorrow. So repeat after me. Alif, ba, ta, tha, jim, ha, kha, dal, zal, ra, za, sin, shin, صاد ضاد طاء ظاء عين غين فاء قاف كاف لام ميم نون واو Hamza, Ya. So inshallah, we will continue tomorrow. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you all, keep you all safe, and we will continue benefiting from such videos, inshallah, as we are going through this pandemic and crisis. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep each and every person safe, Muslim or non-Muslim, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to continue taking benefit from such videos which are being circulated, whether it's a video created by Ihyaaus or Kashiful Uloom or any other Madrasah or all other literature and beneficial resources which are available, which we try and utilize to our gain, and inshallah try and benefit our children. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.